Hi, I'm Paul Roberts, and this is Conscious Counseling 101. Robert writes in, and this is a good one. This is a good one to do a generic video on because a lot of people probably feel like this, and I can answer to this. He says, I'm at a crossroads, sort of a rut. I suffer from anxiety, depression, and what I think are maybe learning disabilities that stem from being diagnosed as ADHD. I'm getting old, yet haven't accomplished anything. Dead-end job, still in school, no wife, no kids. Hell, no life. I try to help the situation, but it's no use. I find myself being jealous of those that are younger than me, who have achieved everything I wish I had. I wish I knew of a spell that I could cast that would turn the tide on this blank show I call my life. And I thought, oh, I feel bad and I can help you. But then I asked, well, what's your age and what's your religious preference? And he said late 30s and considers himself a Christian. Okay, so it's hard for me to feel poorly for someone as young as you. How old do you think I am? Okay, if you watch some of the other videos, you'll hear me say that I'm 55. Okay. You get your whole life ahead of you if you survive. Of course, it's a lousier world that we're going into now with all the things that have happened within your lifetime. The towers falling, the 2008 collapse, what's going on now, the future financial issues that are going to be, and the way we're going to live our life, how those things are going to affect us. There are so many opportunities. It isn't funny. But let's not talk about opportunity. I had a person recently, I am an entrepreneur. I've been professionally, singly making my living for about over 25 years. So a person asked me recently, how can I be an entrepreneur like you? And I said, well, since that's what you asked, I'll talk to you about that. I kind of offer free counseling because I want to give value to people. If I'm telling you how to be an entrepreneur or how to be successful, that's really not value, it's earthly value. That's why I asked you about religion. One of the things I like about Jesus' teachings, if you're familiar with them, and you probably are somewhat, but if you're a Christian, a lot of times you go way past the gospel and into the other books. And you can miss some of the important differences between those that are telling what Jesus was meaning and what he actually was meant to have said and shown that what he said. There's a huge difference. It's one of the things that increases my faith because I think, well, why is that difference there? Man's intervention. Man's already off from what he says. But let's not get too deep into this right now. One of the reason I brought it up is you said you possibly were following Christianity a little bit. I don't know what that means. A lot of things for different people. I call myself a Jesus teachings follower. I don't call myself a Christian, even though I am still, but I'm not in the conventional sense that people think. So I'm gonna talk to you only about this in the sense that I love the fact that if you're familiar with Jesus' teachings and his parables and things like that, he's constantly comparing the kingdom of heaven and the kingdom of earth, so that whatever one you want to know more about, you have a sensibility of how it would work in earth, how it would work in heaven. It gives you a sense of taking something you can't even prove and say, well, how would it work? And showing things, practical experiences of what you can prove and what you can show. So let's talk about you. I'm sorry for laughing, but I have so much positive feeling for you and what you're going to do in your life. Because why? You're so young, and yet you thought you could do better. You weren't happy. You admitted that you were jealous. You admitted you wanted better. Who hasn't had that, right? I mean, movies are made about it. Songs are made about it, right? You know, It's a Wonderful Life, you know? You've probably seen that. Almost everybody has. We can never know for sure. Let's talk mostly on a secular level today. We can never know for sure what we affect and what value there really is. But one of your key ingredients to knowing that you're going to find out what that is, even if you can't know for sure, is that you cared enough to be concerned about it. I'm a person that spends every one of my days being concerned about that and talking to many people to show them a different way of looking at things so that they can be concerned about that. And I'm going to try to do the same for you. And if you want to continue on, this is free counseling. I can talk to you about this because it's so important. You're not asking for something that is monetary or limited or earthly. You're talking about something that every one of us should have flowing from within, in and out, breathing this essence of this vitality. Where does the essence of vitality come from? You're probably not going to get it if you look at what you think you've done that isn't good enough, or fails by comparison to what you would have liked to have seen, or others around you that are seeming to achieve it, you're probably not going to feel that. Another saying here, another quote. These quotes keep coming up over and over again. A life of a single day could be a triumph. A life of 1,000 years can be a tragedy. But how do we determine that? I'm not going to just give you a bunch of warm and fuzzies. If you go on YouTube now and they got all these images and they have these interesting sayings, oh, that sounds profound. Yeah, I'll think on that. I'll dwell on that. Oh, yeah. No, that's just pacifying yourself, putting Band-Aids on the symptoms, ignoring the symptoms. That's not going to do anything. But, you know, if you have a steady diet of it, it's like having a cigarette. Oh, I get another hit. Is it really doing anything for you? Probably not. It's like another day goes by. Oh, I reflected on a positive thought today. No, I don't want to give you a positive thought. I want to give you a perspective shift. Okay? A total perspective shift that you can see your life in a different way. I try to, on all videos like this that talk about this kind of thing, I try to make it so that everything you need is in the one video, but also that you know that I'm a friend and I'll talk to you and I'll continue with you if you would like. As a friend, as a life coach, as a counselor, just as another point of view. But everything you'll need is right here, and I'm going to tell you what it is. Okay. Now, this is not this hocus pocus, new age thinking, hippie voodoo, feel good, come down on you like an evangelical. Nothing. None of those things that you find. In fact, I find my message is very rare. I find that even in the religious communities or the Christian communities, my message is very rare. And the reason is because I structure and design it that way. I'm an artist. I take key things like when Jesus said the road to salvation is straight and narrow and only a few will find it, and the road that is leading to destruction is broad and almost all are on it, I say, all right. If there's anything to that, well, how would that manifest itself in our life? I use my intelligence and my analytical nature at that point, even if it's not true. Even if this is just a person that's not the Son of God and it didn't come from a higher place, even if it's not true, I don't even want to say I test it, but I say, okay, well, if there's any validity to anything else that would come from that realm, I have to treat that as if it's true. So I say to myself, let's look at all the other teachings too, but you don't have to if you want to look secularly. Are you sensing that happiness is coming to those that are successful in the eyes of man more than you're thinking you should be? That can do seemingly whatever they want to do. They're having pleasure all the time. They're avoiding pitfalls. Their life is not a blank show. The reason I say blank is I don't use derogatory language at all, even when it needs to be, you know? And I don't even know that you said hell. It looks like you had a different spelling. But the reason I don't do that is because I believe that if we inject positivity into what we see, as long as we're not delusional, but we consider all things in the pool of ideas, and we inject positive things, that even if God or Jesus or any of those teachings were irrelevant and didn't exist, so much of, if you study, is about this positive conscious counseling injection of the positive energy that they're talking about, or the light, if you don't want to call it positive energy, that sounds too new age. The light, you inject this, and it does things, regardless of whether those things were real or not. But here's the kicker. If you're injecting these things and you try to find a way to have less valuable substance, you may or may not. Luck comes into play, sometimes how out of balance you are. I've got to have success and fame and these trivial transitory things at any cost. Sometimes the people that are the most unbalanced and the most, I'll do whatever it takes, are the ones that achieve those things. That's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but if you talk about Jesus, he says, you know, the man that came to him and said, I want to sit by your right side, and what can I do? And he says, well, if you really want to follow me, come on, but first go sell all the things you have and come and follow me. Well, he had already achieved those good things. And he walked away heavy-hearted, and he never was going to come back, and he couldn't do that. And Jesus said, well, that's because you have everything in this world you need, and you're comfortable enough. And everything that's beyond what we can see is in another world, another place, and there's no guarantee, there's no assuredness of it. But that person gave Jesus the chance to utter the words that are very important to all of us, and they're so true, they're ring true, even if he wasn't what he said he was, they're still true, and you know they are. And that is that the love of money is the root of all evil. If you see the comings and goings and the design of men in this world, even in the churches, but just all pervasive throughout the ages, if you look at history, secular history, you can see that money and greed and power and trying to obtain pleasures at pushing down and oppressing anybody else or any ideas even has always been the overall goal of those that may wield power, because they can't be certain that God or any of these other larger concepts exist, and so therefore they gravitate more towards whatever they can be more sure of. And if you continue to grapple with these things in your life and think, oh, that's what success is, and you buy into those fallacies, you may eventually become successful. You may eventually have what they have. In fact, I was doing a video series, different things for people that I knew, 20 years ago for the Millionaires Club, Speakers Bureau in Orlando at the time. Knew a bunch of different millionaires peoples, and I would talk with them and visit them and do videos for them and promotional videos and things. And one thing they always shared in common, they always said, if you want to be like me, if you want to be a millionaire, there's only one thing you need. Only one thing. And that's that you have to want to be. So simple. That's so simple. You could go down that road if you want to. You could believe that that brings happiness and joy and balance. And you'll enjoy, like that man that walked away from Jesus, all the days of your life, the things that you accumulate. If you truly want to. How desperate, how hard do you have to work? How many things do you have to sacrifice to make that road acceptable when you say, yes, I want to? Oh, there's a blockade. Oh, there's a hurdle. Oh, I have to jog around this way. Oh, what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do counterbalance this. I'm going to do all these things on my road. Well, the wanting to needs to be there so that when you get to each one of those blockades, no matter what it is, you'll jump over to go around it. The wanting to doesn't make it easy. It just makes it possible. But you want to be happy. You want to not be jealous of those around you. Not compare yourself to them. You can go down a road with perspective counseling that doesn't have those pitfalls, those obstacles, those barricades, those jogs, those compromises, those vices because of our anxiety. Oh my gosh, so much vices come to people because of anxiety, whether they're unsuccessful, like you think you are, or whether you're moving towards success. The anxiety comes because you don't know if the next one's going to kill you, or really hurt you, or it's a risk, or something you get past, or what you even should be thinking like that. Your anxiety comes from not having a solid thing to stand on. Wanting something that's out there and being willing to go after it no matter what is the thing that the millionaires say they need to have. It's the want. I would say to you, and I'm going to keep this first video really short because if I'm saying something you just think this guy doesn't have anything to say to me, you'll never listen again anyway. But I do it on the phone and it only uploads 15 minutes at a time, so I'm going to finish this up. What I'd like to suggest to you is, if I continue my talking with you, looking at the perspective as a whole of what we're talking about here, and comparing it to the perspective of what other types of things you could do that aren't monetarily involved, that could still bring joy and prosperity, and that you may already have, that you don't realize it because you need to change your perspective to see something differently than what you already got, could be a closer route, an almost immediate route, to a place you could go to instead of what you're currently thinking that you should go to. Just change your road from, in the Matrix, you've been down that road, you know where that road goes. You don't want to do that again. Remember when they pulled the thing out of his, I don't know, how could I see that again? Where'd they pull it out of anyway? They open the door, it's raining, they're under the bridge. You could go down that road, but you know where that road goes. You can analyze these things. You can read books. You can find out where the road goes that you're talking about. But how much analysis have you done of the road that I'm suggesting that your perspective change might help you to see? I can help you see what that road looks like. And you may elect it instead. And a perspective change just to view that more openly and wholly could consume you. You could change your point of view today and start trying to aim at a different target by a different road tomorrow. If you're interested in anything more like that, I'd be glad to talk to you further. I'm Paul Roberts. This is Conscious Counseling 101.